So, this happened to me a few years ago when I was working as a delivery driver for this small pizza place in my hometown. It was one of those jobs you take to make some quick cash, and honestly, I didn't mind it. I got to drive around, listen to music, and deal with people just long enough to hand them food and leave. Easy enough, right? Except for this one night. It was late, close to midnight, and I was just finishing up my shift when an order came in. It was for one of those addresses way out in the sticks. You know, the kind where your GPS gives up halfway and just tells you, good luck. The boss asked if I'd mind taking it since I was already out. I figured, sure, one last run, then I'm done. The drive was long and weirdly quiet. No cars, no lights, just me and this eerie two-lane road. I finally found the place. An old, run-down house that looked like it hadn't seen a paintbrush, or a human, since the 80s. The porch light was flickering like something straight out of a horror movie. I laughed to myself, thinking, of course, this is how my night ends. I parked, grabbed the pizza, and walked up to the door. The air felt heavy, like the kind of humidity that sticks to your skin, but it wasn't warm. It was cold, bone-chillingly cold. I knocked, and after a few seconds, the door creaked open just a crack. An older man peeked out. His face was pale, like really pale, and his eyes looked sunken, almost hollow. "You're here," he said in this raspy whisper, like he'd been waiting forever. I held up the pizza and said, yeah. Large pepperoni?" He didn't respond. He just opened the door wider, revealing a dark hallway behind him. No lights on inside, just shadows stretching into nothing. I handed him the pizza, and he took it. But then he just stood there, staring at me like he was expecting something else. "All right, well, have a good night," I said, stepping back toward my car. But as I turned, he said, "Wait." I froze. "You shouldn't have come here," he muttered. Now, I'm not gonna lie, my fight or flight kicked in hard, and flight won by a landslide. I mumbled something like, "Okay, bye," and power walked back to my car, heart pounding out of my chest. As I started the car and turned around, I glanced in my rearview mirror. That's when I saw it. Another figure standing just inside the doorway. It was a woman, I think, but she was tall, unnaturally tall, and her face was all wrong. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was off, like a bad sketch of a human. I floored it out of there. Here's the kicker. When I got back to the restaurant, my boss was waiting for me. He looked pissed. "Where the hell have you been?" he asked. I told him I just delivered the last order. He frowned and said, "That order was canceled an hour ago. The house is abandoned." I swear my stomach dropped to my shoes. The next day, I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I did some digging. Turns out, that house had been empty for years. Ever since the family that lived there vanished without a trace. To this day, I don't know who or what I delivered that pizza to, but I've never taken another job that sends me into the middle of nowhere.